So write down the next topic as exceptions to octet rule. Exceptions to octet rule. So we have learned till the last class that when we draw the Lewis dot structure, generally we keep in mind the fact that I have to put 8 electrons for almost all the atoms so that they can complete the octet, which stabilizes the molecule. But today we will discuss about exceptions or limitations, where we will see that not all molecules are completing the octet. There are some molecules which do not follow the octet rule, but still they exist in nature, in spite of the fact that they do not follow the octet rule, but still they do exist in nature. So under this, we first write down compounds of hydrogen. Compounds of hydrogen. So hydrogen has how many electrons in its outermost shell? 1 electron.
1.
Okay. And it can maximum take 1 more electron. And if it has got only 1 shell, there is no question of fulfilling the octet. Rather, it can only fulfill the duplet. Duplet means 2 electrons. So hence we say hydrogen in all its compounds completes its duplet rather than octet, isn't it? Octet means 8. So not all elements complete the octet. So hydrogen can complete the duplet. Duplet means 2 electrons. Thereafter, we talk about electron deficient compounds. Electron deficient compounds. What are electron deficient compounds? We'll come across some molecules which do not have 8 electrons, rather they have got less than 8 electrons. They have incomplete octet. But such molecules also are found in the nature, and their existence also could not be explained on the basis of octet rule. There are some molecules in which the central atom is surrounded by less than 8 electrons. That is, their octet is incomplete. Okay, their octet is an incomplete. But in spite of the fact that their octet is incomplete, they still exist in nature. As for example, if you look at BeCl2, BF3, AlCl3, LiCl, etc., you will see that they have incomplete octet. So if you look at their structures, it will be clear that they have incomplete octet. So how to draw their structures? Suppose we talk about beryllium chloride. Beryllium's atomic number is how much? 4. So what is the valence electron of beryllium? It is 2. So we add up 2 plus 2 into 7, 16 electrons, which means 8 pairs. So when I put 8 pairs in such a way that octet of each and every chlorine is completed, so you will see that beryllium has incompleted octet. How many electrons do you find around the beryllium? Tell me.
Sir, 4.
Only 4.
4.
And you cannot cancel off this pair to bring in here as we could do for oxygen, because oxygen can show double bond, chlorine cannot, as it is halogen. So beryllium has got only 4 electrons even after sharing the electrons. So it is electron deficient in nature, but still it exists in nature. Similarly, boron trifluoride. Boron has atomic number of 5, so 2, 3. So 24 electrons means 12 pairs. So when you put in fluorine on all the 3 sides and try to complete the octet of the 3 fluorines, so all the 12 pairs are utilized. But how many electrons boron has got in its surroundings?
6.
Only 6. So in spite of the fact that beryllium and boron have 4 electrons, 6 electrons, likewise in aluminium also, it will show the same behavior as that of BF3, because aluminium also has got 3 electrons. So if you have got 2 electrons or 3 electrons, even after sharing, you can have 4 electrons and 6 electrons. And therefore, you will have an incompleted octet. And in spite of the fact that they are electron deficient in nature, they do exist in nature and cannot be explained on the basis of octet. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So draw this much, then we will move on to the next exceptions. Have you completed?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Completed.
Sir, done.
Done. Then we move on to the third exception. Electron rich molecules. So it is just the reverse of the previous one. So previously we had seen that the central atom had less than 8 electrons. Now we'll come across some molecules where the central atom has got more than 8 electrons. And in spite of the fact that they have got more than 8 electrons, they do exist in nature. And it generally happens in the elements of third and higher periods, because the third and higher period elements have d orbitals in them. And as the d orbitals are included in the elements, they are capable of accommodating more number of electrons, because of which they are not restricted to octet. Rather, they can expand beyond octet. In some molecules, where the central atom belongs to third period, not group, third period or below, they have expanded octet more than 8 electrons after sharing the electrons. As for example, PCl5, SF6, IF7, etc. Now, if I draw the structure of PCl5, so phosphorus has atomic number of 15. It is 2, 8, 5. Chlorine has 7 electrons each in the outermost shell. So 5 into 7, 35 plus 5, 40 electrons. 40 electrons stands for 20 pairs. Now, if you put 5 chlorine atoms around the phosphorus and put octet on each chlorine, then you will notice that each chlorine has got octet, no doubt, but the central atom has got more than 8 electrons. How many electrons do you find around the phosphorus that has been shared?
So 10.
10 electrons. Okay, so phosphorus has got 10 electrons after sharing. So it can accommodate 10 electrons because, as I said, that phosphorus belongs to third period, and third period elements or below them, they have d orbitals. They can accommodate more than 8 electrons. Similarly, if I talk about SF6, sulfur has 6, each fluorine has 7. So 48 electrons means 24 pairs. So if you place 6 fluorine atoms around the sulfur and give octet to all of them, then you will notice that every fluorine has completed octet, and sulfur after sharing has how many electrons? It has 12 electrons, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It has 12 electrons. Likewise, I'm not drawing IF7, but you can yourself calculate that if iodine is surrounded by 7 fluorine, then it will have 14 electrons shared in between. So all of them have more than 8 electrons and are said to possess expanded octet. Expanded octet means more than 8. Tell me after you have completed drawing the structures so that we can move on to the fourth exception.
Sir, done.
Done. All of you have done. Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we move on to fourth type of molecules which do not follow the octet rule, and they are referred to as odd electron molecules. Odd electron molecules. See, the question of completing the octet exists only when you have even number of electrons, because generally after adding up the outermost shell electrons, what we used to do, we convert them into pairs and thereafter we distribute in such a way so that the side atoms are completing the octet first, and thereafter we try to complete the octet of the central atom if possible. But if the total number of valence electrons after addition comes out to be odd, okay, then obviously it will not be possible for us to distribute them to complete their octet. And there are molecules which have odd electrons in them. So let us see what are those molecules. Molecules such as nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, are some examples in which bonded atoms have odd number of electrons. Hence, are also called odd electron molecules. Now let us say we take nitric oxide. So nitrogen has 5 electrons in its outermost shell. Oxygen has got 6. So can you convert 11 electrons to pairs? Is it possible?
No,
No,
sir.
Not at all. So if you try to draw the structure of nitric oxide, say I complete the octet of oxygen, okay, and total of complete 5 pairs will be possible, plus 1 electron will be left unpaired. So out of this, we see that 1 pair goes to nitrogen, but 1 unpaired electron remains on the nitrogen, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
The complete 5 pairs, out of which I have completed the octet of nitrogen. And even if we cancel this off to bring in double bond here, still you will see that 1 unpaired electron will be remaining on nitrogen. So nitrogen has got total of 7 electrons only after sharing. And 7 electrons means one of the electron will remain unpaired. Similarly, nitrogen dioxide, 5 plus 6 into 2, So 2 6 are 12 plus 5, 17 electrons. So 16 electrons can be paired up into 8 pairs, plus 1 electron will be unpaired. So if you try to put the electrons in this manner so that oxygen is completing the octet. So complete 8 pair I have given, but the unpaired electron will go to the central atom. And even if you try to cancel off one of the lone pairs to put in the bond pairs, so you will see that nitrogen is still left with an unpaired electron. And such molecules also exist and cannot be explained on the basis of the octet rule. So not only are they electron deficient, the central atom is electron deficient, but they have odd number of electrons. They have unpaired electrons present on them. Done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Coming on to the fifth exception under octet rule. The octet rule says that when we talk about the noble gas atoms, they are not supposed to form any compound because they have completed octet. If they have already completed octet, why should they combine? Because atoms combine as they have incompleted octet, and that is why they try to share the electrons in covalent bond so that their octet gets completed. And noble gases have already completed octet and they are not supposed to form any compound. But again, there are some noble gases which are found to form compounds and that they are violating the octet rule. So that comes under exception number 5, compounds of noble gases. Even though noble gases have completed octet, and are not supposed to form any compound, but some noble gas compounds are found. So which noble gas is found to form maximum number of compounds? It is xenon, remember. Krypton also forms very limited number, but xenon is found to form. Xenon forms different compounds such as XCF2, XCO3, XCF4, XCO2F2, XCOF4, etc. krypton is also found to form KrF2. So this way we can see that even though noble gases have completed octet and are not supposed to form any compound, but xenon is found to form compounds and they violate the octet rule. Suppose we are interested to, say, take any one example, xenon difluoride. Xenon has 8 electrons, fluorine has 7 electrons each. So 22 electrons makes 11 pairs. So if you distribute the electrons so as to complete the octets of the 2 fluorine atoms, so 8 pairs have been given and the rest 3 pairs should go to xenon. So you see that xenon has got total of 5 pairs mounting to 10 electrons and it exceeds the octet rule. Okay. Is it clear? The 5 different exceptions.
Yes, sir.
So hence we come to the conclusion that octet rule is not the ultimate rule. And what is the meaning of the term ultimate rule? It means everybody should follow the octet rule. Okay, but there are exceptions. And we have seen that 5 different types of exceptions are there where the atoms at the center are not completing the octet. Either they have got less than 8 electrons or more than 8 electrons, and some of them have unpaired electrons as well. Yes, most of the molecules do follow the octet rule, but you cannot expect each and every molecule to follow the octet rule. And that is why we get the different exceptions to octet rule. Understood? Can I proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after discussion of octet rule, we now move on to another topic, right? Coordinate covalent bond. Which is also referred to as dative bond. Coordinate covalent bond or dative bond. So we have learned in case of covalent bond, how is a covalent bond formed? Suppose this is one atom, this is another atom, and they share the electrons. And after sharing, we calculate both the electrons with both the atoms. And we say that the electrons which are present in between the two atoms belong to both the atoms because they have been shared. And before sharing, both of them have contribution. দুইটাই contribute কৰিছে, contribute কৰাৰ পিছত share কৰি আছে, গতিকে আমি কওঁ যে এটা covalent bond form হল, যাক আমি show কৰো with the help of a single line. And each line comprises of 2 electrons. প্রত্যেক line দুটা electron contain করে. But now we are talking about a special type of covalent bond where the electrons are shared, no doubt, because it's a covalent bond. But the interesting thing is, here both the electrons actually come from the same atom. The contribution is done by only one of the atoms. The other atom has no contribution. And such type of bond, covalent bond, in which both the electrons comes from the same atom, is referred to as coordinate covalent bond. So let us see how it is formed. Suppose we have atom A, which is electron rich, and it has got 2 electrons, and there is another atom B which does not have any electron to donate or contribute. Both the electrons will be given by A, and thereafter it will be looking like a normal covalent bond. But what is the difference between a normal covalent bond and a coordinate covalent bond? In normal covalent bond, both of the atoms had equal contribution and then the electrons were shared. But what is happening in coordinate covalent bond? The electrons which are taking part in sharing comes from any one of the atom which is electron rich, and the other one does not have any contribution at all, and such bonds are shown with the help of an arrow. And what is the direction of the arrow? The direction of the arrow is from donor atom to the acceptor. And because the donor atom is giving away the electron, so it develops a positive charge and the other develops a negative charge on it. Because jimane hok bir yat labh hoyase, ami formal charge discuss korisu last class, and where we have seen that in a covalent bond, if it is one of the atoms which is giving away both the electrons and then taking part in sharing, so that develops a positive charge, and the other who is accepting the electron develops a negative charge. So likewise, in coordinate covalent bond, which is shown by an arrow, the direction of the arrow is always from the donor to the acceptor. Understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it is like a partnership where the shared property is actually given by only one of them, and thereafter it is shared. So let us try to define it. It is a special type of covalent bond where the electron pairs taking part in sharing comes from one of the atoms. Hence, this type of bond is formed between an electron rich and an electron deficient species. This type of bond is formed between an electron rich and an electron deficient species. Let us try to understand the examples under it. There is a very common ion called ammonium ion. Ammonium, whose formula is NH4 plus. So who are the constituents responsible in the formation of ammonium ion? One of them is ammonia. So last class we have discussed about structure of ammonia, where we have seen that when you distribute the electron pairs around the nitrogen, so one of the pairs remain on the nitrogen as lone pair. So ammonia is electron rich. And suppose an electron deficient species called a proton H plus. You know that hydrogen has got only one electron in it. And if that electron is removed out of hydrogen, so it becomes H plus. So H plus is not in position to give any electron because it does not have any electron to provide. But when it comes near nitrogen, nitrogen says that there is no problem, because to form a bond, you require two electrons, and both the electrons will be provided by the nitrogen itself. And accordingly, nitrogen develops a positive charge. So here both the electrons are actually coming from nitrogen, as H plus does not have any tendency to give away electron. And hence the fourth bond that I have shown, these three bonds are normal covalent bonds because they have been shared properly. But the fourth bond is a coordinate covalent bond and is shown with the help of an arrow. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But once the covalent bond is formed, I mean coordinate covalent bond is formed, you cannot distinguish one from the other. All look similar. But theoretically, when ammonia was produced, they were normal hydrogens, and normal hydrogens can share electrons. They contribute their electrons because they have got one electron in them to contribute. But H plus cannot do so because of the fact that H plus does not have any electron in it, and therefore it is only acting as an acceptor. And because the nitrogen is giving away the electron to H plus is normalized, becomes neutral because it is accepting the electron. But nitrogen develops deficiency because one of its electron is moving away from it, and hence we put positive charge on nitrogen. So the fourth type of bond is a coordinate covalent bond or dative bond. Have you written down? Can I move on to the next example?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So whenever you come across such type of bond shown by an arrow, immediately it should come to your mind that it is a coordinate covalent. Number B, formation of hydronium ion H3O plus. Suppose I draw the structure of water. So last class we have drawn the structure of water, where we have seen that oxygen has two lone pairs of electrons on it and two bonded pairs, which it has formed with two hydrogens. And again, if a proton approaches it, so both the electrons must be provided by the oxygen atom. And accordingly, one of the pairs will remain unutilized still, and one of the bonds will be coordinate covalent. So here the oxygen develops a positive charge because it is acting as a donor, and H plus is acting as an acceptor. So এই যে আমি structure to draw কৰিছো, this is a structure of hydronium ion. তো আমাক যদি খুদে এতিয়া যে অক্সিজেনৰ তাতটো এটা লোন পেয়াৰ থাকি গল even after donating one pair, আৰু এটা যদি H plus আহে, will it be further donating a pair of electrons to form another coordinate covalent bond or not? What do you think? Oxygen দিব না, কারণ তারটা আরো একটা lone pair বাকি রয়েছে। So will it provide the lone pairs to another H plus to form another coordinate covalent bond, or will it not give? What do you think? Momi?
Sir. Sir, it will.
It will give, according to you? আচ্ছা,
Yes,
মই
sir.
এটা কথা কওঁ। What is the charge present on the oxygen?
+1. +1.
Plus. Now plus means, is it electron rich or electron deficient?
Sir, electron deficient.
It is electron deficient. So you will be donating something to others only when you yourself is comfortable, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So by donating one pairs, already the oxygen has developed a positive charge. That means this oxygen is electron deficient now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So now my question is, if another H plus approaches it, so obviously H plus and O plus, both of them are positively charged. So will they attract each other or repel each other?
Sir, repel each other.
So do you think the oxygen will donate the pair to the second H plus?
No, sir.
No, sir. So second time it is not going to form another coordinate covalent bond. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So oxygen can donate maximum of one lone pair, and after donating, it itself has developed an electron deficiency, and therefore further, if it is asked that will it form another coordinate covalent bond with proton or not, the answer will be no, it will not form. Understood? Coordinate covalent bond?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what is the basic difference between a normal covalent bond and a coordinate covalent bond, if it is asked? So we can simply say that whereas in a normal covalent bond, both the electrons taking part in sharing comes from the same atom, from both the atoms, but in coordinate covalent bond, both the electrons taking part in sharing comes from one of the atoms. Both of them are not contributing, but after both the electrons comes from one of the atoms, thereafter they share the electron pair. Clear?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Can I rub it? Is it completed?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
So after discussion of the coordinate covalent bond, we move on to another very, very important topic called resonance. What exactly is resonance and which type of molecules actually show resonance? Can all molecules show resonance? Answer is no. There are certain criteria that needs to be fulfilled to show the concept of resonance. So to understand the concept of resonance, let us go to the structure of ozone. But prior to that, we will have to understand very minute things, and then we need to join up each and everything. Suppose carbon forms a single bond with another carbon. Carbon can also form double bond, and carbon can also form triple bond. Okay. The number of bonds which are present in between the two atoms as a result of sharing of electrons can be given as bond order. If it is asked what is bond order, so we say that it is the number of bonds present in between the two atoms. So bond order of carbon, single bond carbon is 1. It is 2. It is 3. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now it has been further found out experimentally that more the number of bonds present between any two atoms, the atoms come closer to each other. Okay, more the number of bonds, stronger is the bond, and accordingly, as the bond becomes stronger, the bond length becomes shorter, which means that bond length and bond order are inversely proportional to each other. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Again, I am repeating, those who are not clear, number of bonds jimane barhibo, bond to imane strong hobo. The atoms will be coming closer to each other. And as atoms come more closer to each other, so obviously the length will shorten, the length will decrease. So hekarne ami ko je bond order aru bond length hol inversely proportional to each other. Gotike, if we are asked to arrange the bond length of these three bonds, which do you think has got the shortest bond length?
The last
one.
C triple bond C. No, I don't know.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Less than C double bond C, less than C single bond C, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
তার মানে in case of multiple bonds, the bond length shortens, the bond length decreases, and in case of single bonds, the bond length is relatively larger. Now, have you written this much? This is not resonance, but to understand the concept of resonance, we have to understand so many things at a time. So prothom ami discuss korilu je jetia molecules bilagot bonding form hobo, to jiman beshi number of bonds form hoy, so we say that lesser will be the bond length. So bond order is number of bonds, bond length is the distance between the two atoms taking part in sharing. Now say we take the example of ozone and again try to draw its Lewis dot structure that we discussed last class. Ozone 3 into 6, 18 electrons, 9 pairs. So if you put 3 oxygen and distribute you get this diagram, and the middle oxygen, as we can see, is not capable of completing the octet. So what do? I cancel off one lone pair and put it here. And it is not necessary that cancellation will take place only from this. There is an equal possibility that cancellation can take place from the other. And accordingly, there are 2 structures possible for ozone. One of them is this. The other is this. Clear up to this much? This we have discussed last class as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So দুটা structure possible হয় ওজোনের ক্ষেত্রে। এতিয়া if this is the structure, first structure, which we name it as say 1 and this has 2, if this is the structure of ozone, then accordingly this should be shorter as compared to this or not?
Yes, sir.
Because just
Yes,
now we
sir.
have discussed that more the bond order, more the number of bonds, so obviously lesser will be the bond length. Lesser the number of bonds, more will be the bond length. So relatively it should be shorter and this should be longer. And in general, if we talk about a normal oxygen, double bond oxygen, its bond length is 121 picometers. Okay, so how much is the oxygen, double bond oxygen bond length? 121 picometers. And oxygen, single bond oxygen is 148 picometers. So accordingly, this should be slightly longer because 148 is longer than that of 121. And if you come to this structure, then what should be the bond length of this accordingly?
148 because
Single bond যেহেতু 148 picometer and double bond যেহেতু 121 picometer, নহয় জানো?
yes sir.
Okay. But the interesting thing is, when you actually calculate the bond length of ozone, both the bonds have been found to be exactly equal. And neither of the bonds are perfect double bonds, nor they are perfect single bonds. And the actual bond length has been found out to be 128 picometers, both of them. So what we are expecting and what we are actually getting are different or not?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then there was a confusion that how can this be possible? Because either there can be a double bond or there can be a single bond. And if oxygen, double bond oxygen is considered, it should be 121 picometers. If oxygen, single bond oxygen is considered, coming out to be oxygen, single bond oxygen, then it should be 148 picometers. But what is the reality? The actual bond lengths are neither 121 nor 148, but it is in between the two. So there we have to explain it in terms of resonance. There comes the concept of resonance. তার মানে actual structure of ozone is neither structure 1 nor structure 2. The actual structure of ozone is the combination of the first two structure, jak ami ko resonance hybrid. Resonance hybrid. So the important question arises is what kind of molecules actually show resonance? কোন ধরনের molecule resonance দেখায় যদি আমাক খুদে, তো আমি কম that there are certain molecules or ions which cannot be explained by a single Lewis dot structure, and more than one Lewis dot structure is required to explain all the properties. Let me give you a very simple example. Suppose I want to show movement of a person with the help of a picture. It is not possible to show the movement of the person with the help of a picture because in a picture the person does not move. He is static, isn't it?
Yes sir.
কারণ যিকোনো তুমি পিকচার ড্র করা তুমি পিকচারত তো মুভমেন্ট দেখাব নোৱাৰা. In a picture, whatever, even if you are showing movement of a bus, movement of a car, movement of any person, so a single picture is not sufficient enough because at a single picture or jikono manu hok ba gari hok ba any moving substance is static. So tothapiu jodi tumak koy je no, I want to show the movement with the help of picture, then you have to take the help of more than one picture. And when we draw different pictures of the same person with slight displacement in every picture, then when you combine the complete picture, will you not get the person moving?
Yes, sir.
So this is what is done in animation. তোমালোকৰ নিশ্চয় মনত আছে এটা cinema আছিলে, there was a movie called Tare Zameen Par. Have you watched the movie?
Yes, sir.
So that small kid, কি নাম আছিলে, I don't remember, that small kid had a scrapbook, isn't it, where he could move the child away from the parent or towards the parent, isn't it? মনত আছে?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how was it possible for him, with the help of pictures, the movement of the kid towards the parent and away from the parent? Was it comprising of a single page in the scrapbook or too many pages?
So too many pages.
Too many pages. And in every page, the boy was having a different posture, isn't it? So when you combine all of them, so you can show the movement or not. So exactly in the similar way, here also, এই যে তোমার double bonded electron আছে, যাক আমি pi electron বলি কও, one more important thing we need to understand, when there is a single bond, it is called a sigma bond. You will get to know what is sigma, what is pi, how are they formed in this chapter only. But for the time being, remember, when there is a double bond, there is a sigma bond and a pi bond. And when there is a triple bond, there is a sigma and two pi bonds. Now, out of sigma and pi bonds, the sigma bond is a very strong bond. And when the bonding is strong, electrons are restricted. They are not allowed to move freely. But when the bonding is pi bond, the electrons are less tightly held, due to which they can easily move from one corner to another. So sigma bond is a single bond, and pi bond is when either there is a double bond or triple bond in a molecule. Now, in such type of molecules, there is a pi bond, and pi bond is not restricted as they are loosely bonded, and they can move about freely from one corner to another. So I cannot show the movement of pi electrons with the help of a single Lewis dot structure, because this structure says that the pi bond is present in between these two oxygen atoms, whereas this picture says that the pi bond is present in between these two oxygen atoms. But what is the actual scenario? The pi electrons are not present in between any two atoms, rather they are moving continuously from this corner to that corner. And that movement is shown with the help of the broken lines. And what is the meaning of the term broken lines? The pi electrons pass on sometime in between these two oxygen atoms and pass on sometime in between these two oxygen atoms. So such kind of phenomenon where we will have to show the movement of pi electrons with the help of more than one structure is referred to as resonance. Are you clear what is resonance now?
Yes, sir.
তো কোন ধৰণৰ molecules resonance দেখাব? Can anybody tell me what type of molecules show resonance? Yes. What kind of structures can show resonance? Not all molecules can show resonance. Then what kind of molecules can show resonance? So write down the definition. In case of certain molecules or ions, a single Lewis dot structure cannot explain all the properties of the molecule or ion. Okay, so if it is asked that what kind of molecules or ions are capable of showing the resonance, the answer is those molecules or ions which cannot be represented by a single Lewis dot structure. More than one Lewis dot structure is required to explain all the properties. So in case of certain molecules or ions, a single Lewis dot structure cannot explain all the properties of the molecular ion. More than one structure is drawn to explain all the properties. These structures are called resonating structures or canonical forms. Okay, the structures that we are making use of to reach to the actual structure are called resonating structures or canonical forms. But none of the resonating structure or canonical form is the actual structure. They only help to contribute to the actual structure. The resonating structures however do not have physical existence. They do not exist in nature. They only contribute to the actual structure. They only contribute to the actual structure. তার মানে প্রথম যে দুটা স্ট্রাকচার ড্র করেছিল 1 আর 2 ওজনৰ কারণে neither 1 nor 2 have any existence in nature. Such structures do not exist in nature. Which structure actually exists in nature? The hybrid, the combined one, okay, that is formed out of the two. The actual structure that exists is called the resonance hybrid, which is more stable than any of the resonating structures. Which is more stable than any of the resonating structures. তার মানে actual structure হল resonance hybrid. Resonating structure just আমাক help করি আছে to understand the actual structure. And resonance hybrid যেহেতু it is more stable. Why it is more stable? Because it has actual existence in nature. It shows the free flow of electron from one corner to another. And more the free flow of electron you can show, the more stabilized is the structure. But in resonating structures, the free flow is not shown. Rather, the electrons are restricted in between any two atoms. The combined structure of all will be referred to as the resonating structure, resonance hybrid. And the one which contribute will be called as resonating structure. So try to understand the whole scenario because it's a very, very important thing and required both in class 11 and 12. Have you written down?
Yes, sir.
So one example we have already discussed regarding resonance, and that is ozone. And we will discuss more structures so that the things as a whole will be clear to you. So write down the next topic, some common resonance structures. Some common resonance structures. So again, we start up with ozone molecule, O3. How many resonating structures for ozone are possible?
2.
So 2.
2. So in the first structure, we are putting double bond in between first two oxygen and single bond in between the second two oxygen. This is resonating structure 1. See the symbol I am using. In between two resonating structures, we show double-headed arrow. We now shift so this is resonating structure 2. So neither structure 1 nor structure 2 are actual structures. The actual structure is combination of the two. And before drawing the resonance hybrid, we show 3 lines. It's not a triple bond, it is just a symbol, the resultant. And we are showing it with the help of broken lines, suggesting that none of the bonds are perfect single bonds, nor they are perfect double bonds, but they have in between single bond and double bond character. Now, if it is asked that what is the bond order of this, is it 1 or is it 2? The answer is it is neither 1 nor 2. Why? Because in order to be 1, there should be only one single bond. And in order to be 2, there should be 2 bonds, complete bonds. But here one bond is complete and the other is partial. It's not a complete bond, because for some time the electrons stay in between these two atoms, then they move to other two atoms. So in between characteristic is there. So to calculate the bond order in resonating structures, we take any one bond under consideration. So according to this structure, what is the bond order in between these two oxygen? এই দুইটার মাঝের বন্ড অর্ডার কিমান কোৱা?
2.
2. আৰু সেম অক্সিজেন অক্সিজেন বন্ডৰ বন্ড অৰ্ডাৰ স্ট্রাকচার 2 কিমান?
So 1.
1. তো আমি দুইটারে এভারেজ লম, and average lole answer will come out to be how much? 1.5. So 1.5 of course is neither 1 nor 2 but in between 1 and 2, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So bond order can be fractional also, and especially when resonance is shown, you get bond order to be in fractions. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we move on to structure 2. Carbonate ion. So we have drawn already the carbonate ion structure in the last class. আমি ফর্মাল চার্জ ওলাইছিল না জানো?
Yes.
How many such
Yes, sir.
structures are possible? How many Lewis dot structures are possible for carbonate ion?
3.
3. Don't forget to put the lone pair of electrons, and total lone pairs should remain same in all the resonating structures. So how have I drawn the second structure? Simply by shifting the double bond to this position. Then there is a third possibility. So there are 3 resonating structures for carbonate ion, 1, 2, and 3. None of the 3 structures that I have just now drawn are actual structures. What is the actual structure? The pi electron clouds are not restricted to any particular carbon oxygen bond. They are moving in all the 3 bonds one after another. And that can be drawn with the help of resonance hybrid. I put the sigma bonds first, and all of them will have partial double bond character. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Can you calculate the bond order for carbon oxygen, any carbon oxygen bond? How much will it come out? There are 3 structures now. You have to take the average of the 3.
3.
How much?
1.33.
1.33. How? Take any one structure. According to this, it is 2. According to this, it is 1. And according to this, it is 1. যিকোনো এটা লবা কিন্তু হেতু ফিক্স ৰাখিবা and divide it by 3. So 4 by 3 will come out to be nearly 1.33, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So bond order again is neither 1 nor 2. Not exactly in between 1 and 2 here also, because in 3 structures, one of the bonds is double bond, other 2 are single. So it is slightly lesser than 1.5. Done? Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
So which is the most stable structures out of all the structures that I have drawn? 1, 2, 3, and 4.
4.
The fourth one. What is the fourth one called?
Resonance hybrid.
Resonance hybrid. And what are these 3 structures called? The first 3 structures are called what? Resonating
Resonating
structures.
structure.
Yes. Resonating structures. Let us move on to benzene. C6H6. So benzene has a cyclic structure with 6 carbons, alternatively bonded with double and single bond. Now, if this would have been the actual structure of benzene, then 3 of the carbon-carbon bonds should have been shorter because it's a double bond. And the rest 3 should have been longer because it's a single bond. But in reality, it has been found out that all carbon-carbon bonds are found to be exactly equal. None of them are perfect single bonds, nor they are perfect double bonds. So we make use of another structure. So in both the structures, we see that the pi electrons are restricted. And when you are restricting anything, you are making the system unstable. So you have to make them free. And when you combine both the structures, so as the pi bonds are moving all over, so it will be a circular thing because it's present in a circle. So whenever we represent benzene, actually benzene is represented in this manner. So we put a circle in between. So what is the meaning of this term circle? The pi electrons are continuously moving over all the 6 carbon atoms equally. I hope it is clear now.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So again, I'm asking you the same question. Tell me which molecules or ions show resonance.
Sir, molecules or ions with more than one Lewis dot structure.
Yes. The molecules and ions which cannot be represented by a single Lewis dot structure, but require more than one type of structure to explain the actual structure, is involved in resonance. Draw the fourth one, carbon dioxide. So last class, we have drawn the structure of carbon dioxide, and Lewis dot structure came out to be 3. Carbon 4, 2 into 6, 12 plus 4, 16, 8 pairs. And when you put in 8 pairs to complete the octet of oxygen, we see that carbon has incompleted octet. And we can complete the octet by doing 2 things. Either you cancel off 1 pair from both the oxygen atom. So in that case, you will get this structure. Okay, so I'm canceling off this, I'm canceling off this and putting the electrons in between. So you get this. Other possibility? If I cancel off lone pairs from the same oxygen atom, then this can be the structure of carbon dioxide. And again, under this, there are 2 possibilities. Isn't it? So accordingly, there are 3 resonating structures of carbon dioxide possible. But these 2 structures relatively have lesser contribution. Why am I saying so? It is because if you calculate the bond order by considering any one of the bonds, just tell me what is the bond order coming out to be. It will come out to be 2. How? This is 2. This is 3. This is 1 divided by 3. So 6 by 3 is 2, isn't it? That means The resonance hybrid is more or less this, because triple bond and single bond, the average of single bond and triple bond will be double bond or not?
Yes.
And that is why whenever we are asked about carbon dioxide structure, so we say that this is more closer to any of these structures. But while drawing the resonating structures, it can be represented by any one of the three structures. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So hence all those molecules or ions which can be represented by more than one Lewis dot structure is capable of showing resonance. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Resonance is an important phenomenon which is generally found in molecules with pi bonds in them. How do I know whether a molecule has got pi bond in it or not? When will the pi bond exist? Pi bond ketia thake eta molecule, if there is a either double bond or triple bond. Okay. If all are single bonds, what type of bond it is?
Sigma bond.
Sigma bond.
Sigma bond. So sigma bonds are not involved in resonance because they are restricted. They are strong bonds. Only the pi bonds can move from one corner to another. Clear or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh. Okay. So we end up the class today. So next day we'll continue in offline mode as usual. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you,
Sir.